Double points for the outgoing Swiss outfit Sauber as Gabriel Bortoleto capitalised on his first Q3 appearance, secured his first ever F1 points ahead of his teammate Nico Hulkenberg, who came from 20th on the grid to finish P9. Almost pointless in 2024, have Sauber finally turned things around?
I am confident, or at least more confident than I would have otherwise been, in I'm going to go on a limb and say it. I think that
If
Sauber
you
have
say
turned
Audi,
Auto Union money. Sorry, the artist formerly known as Auto Union. No, what I would say is that I think that I Sauber have clearly turned a corner. They in a position now where since I know this is only the third race, but in Spain they finished in fifth. In Canada they finished in eighth. They've got a double points finish in a difficult race. That's six vital points, and it tightens up this. I mean, it was said in the commentary. It tightens up this midfield battle. They are only 4 points, outscoring everyone else by 4 points to being able to get into seventh place in the constructors, and if Racing Bulls have a bad weekend, maybe even sixth. I think this is a really kind of I think it's a big uptick in form, and clearly that the upgrades to the car, the upgrade, sorry, that they brought to the car have worked, meaning that yeah, they can actually fight 4 points positions, and that's making that midfield battle just hot up, no end. And because they're all so competitive, it's not as if they're competing against people who got a lucky number of breaks. All of these teams that they're now beating or are scoring more points than are also fairly competitive. And so I think there's a lot of stock to be taken out of that. And it helps to, it's got to at least help with your rookie driver to they get some points on the board. So you've got some points on the board. You've got your experienced drivers scoring, and things kind of, I'm a big believer in momentum, and I think Sauber have gained that momentum. Clearly things are working. I don't want to speak too soon, but I don't see this sort of stopping anytime soon. There's the kind of circuits that they're doing things on, again, useful going forward. They're similar going forward, and they're all sort of old school tracks. I think we could continue to see this and I think it's well. I mean, it's nice to see them. It's nice to see them doing well again. Sauber are a legendary name in motorsport for good reason. It's nice to see them being competitive and getting successes.
yeah, they are probably one of those teams that, you always end up rooting for. If you're a fan of, motorsport, because, they had that whole independent ethos, they were doing it themselves, they were working with their partners and stuff as well. But, it was the team that, if you saw them running around in P11, you were like, oh, maybe they can get P10. And it always felt weird, when they were making silly organizational mistakes for, legitimate reasons. Like 2015, I think it was, they were running a year-old engine, whilst running a car, I think it was, that looked like your first RC, like toy car and things like that. They've been through some troublesome periods, and, maybe the Vorsprung Dutch technique or whatever it's called, will have an impact, and certainly might do. But, I also want to say, were it not for the blue flags at the end, we could have seen Bortoleto finish P7 or even P6 because, he was gaining time hand over fist to Alonso and Lawson ahead. But obviously, blue flags, you've got to give way. Maybe both of them should have actually given way to Piastri as well on that final lap. That was something that I was thinking whilst that last lap was going on. But ultimately, the race is finished. It's not ultimately, it probably wasn't going to change how things were ahead of them. But, a strong performance from them nevertheless.